Hi, I'm Chris, and this is my first carpentry vlog. So today you can come along with me to work and see what I do. It's going to be a bit of a strange day today because it's all little things. So first of all, I've got to go to a house up the road in the village and refit a dishwasher handle for a local kitchen company that want me to do it, obviously because I'm so close to them. And then what's next is to sort the van out. So I've got to convert the van back from camping mode to work mode. And I'll show you about that. I've actually done a video about it, but it doesn't take too long, so I'm going to do that afterwards. And then I can finally crack on to work. So all we need for this quick job is the handle, selection of screws, ratchet screwdriver, just a cheap one, and then this Loctite Threadlocker, which I don't often use on handles, but because they've had a lot of problems with them, I am going to Loctite this one on, so hopefully it won't have any problems again. But like I say, these are not ones I usually use. This is the customer's own one, so let's see how we get on. Right, so that's the handle fitted, a nice quick little 5-minute job. Now I'm going to swap the van back over to a work van from a camper van. So let's see what we're dealing with. I'm a bit worried about seeing because I've heard a lot of things fall off. So let's have a look. Dear God. So we just got to basically get the mattress out and all the camping bits, put them in, and then we've got to put these two in, which I'll show you how that happens. Right, so I'll show you how these connect. I've done a video on this, but I've changed it slightly. So just at the bottom here, oop, bye-bye screw. We just got normal little machine screws. They go through and then they will fit into some threading inserts. Where's the other one? Over there. It says a few threaded inserts dotted about, and I haven't got my drill, so you have to do this with that screwdriver I used earlier. But even with a screwdriver, it doesn't take too long anyway. But you know, for the fact that you get a full-on sort of good enough van to camp in at the weekends, which converts this fast, it's pretty useful. Right, I'll just turn you off as I do this. So as you can see now, the shelves are in, and I've also gone and got my tools as well, which are kept up the road in a secure unit. So I thought I'd go and grab those now, so then now we can get to work. So what I've got to do next is I've got to build a unit to go on the end of this run here. This was decided afterwards, after the kitchen was designed and drawn up, and I had already started making the rest of the kitchen. But not to worry, we can get around this. So there's a bit of an issue. So this is the wall. My end unit is here. That's an oven there. So this is the end unit, and I need to build a unit here. Just a small one because there's a fridge there. This wall is actually in the wrong place to the original drawing. So I know that this distance here from there to there is 250, and I know the depth from the wall to the front is going to be about 600. So I know this unit here needs to be 600 minus 250, so 350 millimeters. Now with a lot of units, especially ones laminate board units you get from stores like Howden's and places like that, ready-made units, they have what's called a service void on the back. And if you imagine this is a bird's eye view of the unit, you've got your sides of the unit like so, and then it will have the back will be there in a groove, and then obviously that's your front of the unit there. So what happens here is you have a groove there, and it leaves a small space there of say 50 millimeters, 60 millimeters. They vary between each manufacturer. And what that means is the wall would be there, so you butt it up against the wall, and you've got this void there which allows you to cut around for any pipe work that goes behind the unit. So I don't bother with that because it just makes the fitter's life harder. Obviously these are designed, you know, not by the people fitting it. So what I do is I actually make the unit shorter, so I don't bother with that. So I make my units flush. So there's the side, there's another side, that's obviously the front of the unit, and then I just make them flush like that. And then what I do then is I have a block that screws on like so, with a little L bracket there, and that spaces it off the wall for me. The other reason why I don't like this idea with the voids is that's fine if you've got a brand new build and your walls are square. So if you've got a, I know that's not exactly square there. So if these are units, like so, you're determined by the wall because these bits are going to be flush to the wall. Or you could use packers, but if it's quite out of square, which most buildings I do here in the UK, I don't work with new builds, so they're going to be pretty far out the walls. I mean, a lot of farmhouses I do, so I specialise in those. The walls will be sort of like that. So you obviously have to, if you want to put them in square, say that's one of units, they have to be spaced off the wall. Obviously, it's not going to be voids like that, but it has to be spaced off the wall like that. So that's why I use those blocks with the little L brackets. So I'll just grab an L bracket and show you. So it's just a piece of batten with a 90-degree L bracket screwed on like that, and that fits it to the wall. Right, that's enough chit chat. Let's go and get some work done. To cut these boards down, I'm going to use the Mafell MT55 track saw. In my opinion, the best track saw available in this size anyway. One thing to notice with these is they don't have a riving knife, which for sheet material is fine, and these pine boards will be fine. But if you're going to be cutting down live edge timber that's come straight from the timber yard, that's going to be wet, quite thick, then you probably would want a saw with a riving knife. But in my opinion, for sheep goods, this is the best saw. And what I'd advise if you were thinking about one of these or getting a new track saw of the, you know, the high end, so this or the Festal, I'd go to a store that's got one of these and pick the thing up and just feel it. You can tell that it's quality. It's just, it's built like they were years ago. So what else I'm going to use is this. This is the Benchdogs rail square, which I've done a video on, I'll link below. Basically just slide the track onto there and press those cams and it locks it in perfectly square. Right, so I've got my sheet here ready. So I've just got to measure across to 720 there. And then I'm going to do a rip cut across there. So I want to get my sacrificial boards underneath in line with that, so like I said, so it doesn't tip. This edge here you can't actually see on camera, I've already cut that off square. Whenever you buy sheet material or any material for that matter, the edges, they're not always square, and even if they are, they usually get damaged where it's been, you know, put on a forklift. People picked them up in the store. I picked it up from the store, put it in the van, it's get knocked about. So the edges, always trim the edges off nice and square. So just going to set up the Kreg jig quickly. This is just a board I made that's got extra support for longer lengths. We shouldn't really need it at something this size, but I'm going to use it anyway. So what I'm going to do before assembling it all is I'm going to sand all the insides of it, because it's going to be a lot easier to do now than it is later on. This here is the Sealey sander. I'll put the model number on the screen, or I'll put the link for it in the description actually. I got this off Amazon. Really, really recommend this sander. It's not cheap, but it's very, very close replica of the Mirka sander, and well, over half the price, so, or under half the price of it. So I'd highly recommend this. It's got, I think it's got 10 speeds, and with the pad, I'm not going to press it now because the extractor will come on, but it's very, very quiet. So with that, when you press it really gently, it doesn't spin very fast, and if you push it down, it obviously goes to whatever speed you set it as there. These are called a random orbital sander, and I'll show you why it's random and not, it's hard to tell actually because this pad's offset. I'll take that off. You might be able to see, I'm going to do a slow motion video in a moment, that what happens is it's got like a sort of like a gyro type thing inside. So that isn't just spinning circular, it's also spinning sort of in a triangular pattern like that. So it's random rather than just circular. Otherwise, obviously, you get swirl marks on things. I'm using 240 grit Mirka sandpaper for this. I thought I'd just show you something. This is known as crocodile teeth or alligator teeth. And if you don't know the difference between an alligator or a crocodile, one you see later and one you see in a while. Why is it called crocodile teeth? Well, I'll try and show you how rough this is. This is 24 grit, and you rarely find this anywhere. Usually everywhere it goes down to sort of 40 grit at the minimum. You wouldn't have this. I think they do make them for orbital sanders, but you certainly wouldn't want to use one. The reason why I have this is if you've got to scribe something to a floor, a hardwood floor that's all sort of straight-ish, but there might be one lump in it. Sometimes it doesn't look very good just scribing one little bit like that. So you'd have a flat surface and you'd have a lump and then like that, and it doesn't look very good. So that's why I've got these. So then if I do need to sand something like that, it looks a lot better if I do and it's flush. So I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, why hasn't he sanded the back of the unit yet? Well, I'm about to do it if you let me get to it. Right, so when assembling units, I recommend these aluminium clamps here. So I do have some of the old school sort of cast Irwin clamps, and they're brilliant for things like worktops and sort of heavy duty stuff. But for cabinets where you're screwing them, these are getting pocket screwed obviously, I'd recommend these really light clamps. I'll put a link below as with everything else to what I use. Just because they're so light and they're easy, they've got enough pressure for this, and I'd always clamp them before pocket holing anyway, just to stop everything moving. Right, so this is the unit there that I've just assembled, glued together. The glue's now dry. I've fixed it to this unit next to it, which is the deeper unit. As you can see there, obviously it's deeper. So I've got to make a front frame for that. However, this one's a bit different because I've already made the frame for this one, and the customer's happy with me adding on a frame like that. Whereas I'll show you actually when I've done it. So this is the frame for it here that will get put on like that. That's obviously the end panel. I've got to add a little bit of depth to it at the back actually. I do them removable at the back so I can scribe them and then refit them back on rather than scribing the whole unit. So this basically is the front frame. There's obviously 4 drawers going in that one, and there's going to be a door hung on there. So usually what you would do, you would have this rail. So rails go across like a rail, like rails on a stairs or balcony, and stiles go up and down. So the rail should go all the way across like that and all the way across like that. But because I had already made this, I had to join the rails on just there and then a big stile, which the customer's happy with. I did explain that to them, that I'd have to remake this, and they said no, that's fine, so it's going to be done like that, which is not the usual way of doing it. So I've done as much on that cabinet as I can for now. I've got to wait for the glue to dry before I do anything else on it. And also the front frame I've done. I didn't film that because there's just not enough time in one vlog. In future episodes I will obviously talk about front frames, being obviously making kitchens, so that'll be in that. What have I got to do for this afternoon? So I've got to pop home, pick up an Amazon package that's turning up. I've got to head over to a place called Glastonbury, which you may know from Glastonbury Festival, or there's a place there called Glastonbury Tour, but you're coming along with me anyway, so make sure you stay with the video. And also I have got to go to a couple of meetings as well, which unfortunately you can't come in with, but they're over that direction anyway. And then we're going to come back here and have dinner. But before that, it's lunchtime, so let's go and cook something. So today for lunch we've got Frey Bentos chicken meatballs in barbecue sauce. So just get this going. Well, as you can tell, it's a sort of standard tinned food. Goes in there. Cool, that looks like something you find inside a baby's nappy. I don't usually eat stuff like this in the week, but because I go camping, I obviously do have a lot of tinned food, but I do a lot of nice fresh food as well. But these were gifted to me in return for a load of wood offcuts. And the bottom of this pan's a bit black, as you can see. Oh my God, yeah, very black. Oh, and my spoon's just gone in it. Well, I'll see you shortly. So this vlog's actually a little bit longer than I thought because I haven't done one before. So I'm going to have to do this in multiple parts. So if you want to see episode 2, please hit that subscribe button and then you can join me on my adventure. Thank you.